Welcome. Good afternoon. Just give it a couple of minutes till a few more people get on and then we can get started. Just have to make sure that we're broadcasting out on all the necessary channels. Just waiting on the comments to come in. Just setting them up at the moment. So if you want to come in and introduce yourself, just say hi, and we'll be able to welcome you into our little group for this afternoon's talk on Ancestral Family Healing Day. And okay, I think we're up and running. Just want to make sure the messages are coming in okay. Connected. Perfect. Okay. So as I said, we'll give it another minute or two and then we'll get started. My talk this afternoon is going to be on intergenerational healing and how we as a people can contribute individually to making this happen and manifesting the much needed changes in our world, in our country, in our people that we need at this time. So I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit here so I can get into shot a bit better. Yeah. Hope you can hear me okay. With some technical difficulties this morning we couldn't broadcast, so I had to go back onto my telephone. So I'm on the laptop now, so I'm just readjusting the settings a little bit and just bring the horizon a little bit more. Okay. So just give it another minute or so. People's probably still tuning in, trying to find the live. We're not due to get started until 2:30, so we'll give it another couple of minutes, okay guys? So if you've got any questions in the meantime, just pop them up on the comments there and I'll have a look at them and I'll answer any questions that you've got on intergenerational, on healing in general, on spirituality and whatever it might be on your mind at the moment about all of this work. If you're even new to it, any questions, don't feel free to ask anything you want. If you're posting those questions, I'm just going to go and get myself a glass of water. So you're back in about 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. We're just about ready to start. I said it was billed for 2:30, so I'm not going to start for another minute or so because people might be still going around trying to find the live. So hopefully, yeah. So, yeah. Are people having it? Someone must have given me a thumbs up just to let me know that the comments are working okay. I don't seem to be getting any comments coming in at the moment. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay. Yeah, so National Ancestral Family Healing Day. What's it all about? Well, this is something that I've been working on for many, many years. Some of you may know me from the past 30 years of working professionally in the healing area, holistic therapies here in Ireland. And before I came into this work, I spent a good 10 years working on a lot of my own healing and traveling the world, gaining experience, as you need to sometimes do. But mostly it was to do with dealing with my own healing, and I never wanted to actually be a healer. I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be well. I suffered with. I mean, anxiety to me wasn't something to suffer with. It was normal for me. You know, panic attacks. I thought everybody had them most days. Anxiety. I thought most people. It was just the way to be. So, being an intuitive empath and hypersensitive meant that the least little things in my life traumatized me and disconnected me and disturbed me. So, hence, I struggled coming into this reality quite a lot, and developed a lot of issues and a lot of things that needed to be healed. So, as part of my journey of developing ancestral healing, it was one aspect of the work I needed to do on myself. So what I found was that I discovered that that's a strange noise that came in there, wasn't it? Okay, what we're doing is we're going to turn that off. That's in the background. That's kind of going on a bit and a bit on. I'm going to turn this off as well, so I don't have that beeping in the middle of this. So what I discovered was that there was many different areas that I needed to look into in my past to do with healing myself. And when I got to a certain point in the work, and I was already, it was 10 years on, I'd recovered from the anxiety and nearly 9 or 10 years of constant depression that I had, being long-term unemployed back in the 80s during that other crash. So what happened was I realized when I started coming into this craft that I was developing, that there was a lot of stuff around me, there was a lot of stuff around other people that wasn't specifically connected to the current situation that they're in, that there were influences coming in from the past that were not just affecting individuals, they were affecting the collective perception of reality of Irish people in general. And of course, me being one of those, I needed to do a lot of work. So I've done a lot of work around my own ancestral lineage, and I've done a lot of work with the sacred sites, and I've done a lot of regression work, and discovered that there was if you like to call it, a timeline that continued beyond my physical lifetime. That there was stuff coming in from previous generations that was impacting on me, and that would come down through my family line to me. So I had to find some way of healing this, what would I call it, disturbance. And this only came to the surface after many years doing lots of other work, and it was kind of between that and past life experiences crossing over each other that I realized that there was an energy that was around me that was coming from ancestral lineage through my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and so on and so on and so on. And on the positive side to it, there was this wonderful awareness that was carried down through the O'Hara lineage of the Fire of Bridget, which I'm the flame carrier for Bridget's Celtic Grove of Illumination. But I also discovered that two of my great uncles were also wonderful tea leaf readers back in the 30s and 40s, and they were very popular every year at the local garden fete. So, I didn't lick it off a stone, as they say. So the thing is that what I found was that there was that positive stuff coming through, but that was all kind of buried behind kind of my rearing as a traditional Catholic. And what I had to do was to get past all of that to find the source of why was it that I was disconnected from this awareness when in actual fact I was born with it and it was pushed away. Why did I have to pull myself away and protect myself from something that really I needed to embrace? And when I look back through the generations, I realized that there was a disconnect in all of the generations going back for a very long time. And this has a lot to do with our ancient spirituality here on this land, going back to the Tuatha De Danann, the legends, going back to the sacred sites, the stone circles, the fairy forts. All of this stuff is all part of our lineage. Now, in order to reconnect to that, I found that there was a lot of darkness around a lot of this stuff, a lot of fear and, devil worship and witchcraft, all these negative, these things were being shown in a negative way instead of the craft being the healing craft, So what I had to do is go back and discover that there was a lot of fear and shadow work to be done around my ancestors. And not just my ancestors, but everyone's ancestors. Because what we have on this island is we have a lot of hidden, buried information. And with that information, there's attached to it energy. And because this has never been healed or released, it's carried through the generations. And it's in the land, it's in the people, it's in our collective consciousness. It has controlled and it is controlling our perception of reality and how we see ourselves in relation to other people. So the main purpose of what's happening is, or the main drawback of it, is that it creates separation. It has people separate from each other, it has people separate from themselves. They disconnect from their own inner power. So when we look back at ancestral lineage and intergenerational healing, there needs to be a beginning, and we can't begin to do the work if we don't realise that it's there. So National Ancestral Family Healing Day was something that I wanted to put together for many, many years. And having worked with intergenerational healing of my own and seeing how effective it was, and then holding family days where we would have fire ceremonies and drum circles where people would gather and would bring with them, there would be spirits of the ancestors would come with them. And some of the ancestors, these ancestors, wouldn't be what we call happy souls. They would be people who are stuck in trauma. And if you consider that, the numbers of places that we have in this country where we've hidden graves, where we have mass graves buried and hidden right across this country. There's some of them call them Bully's Acre. And these are unmarked sites where thousands of people were dumped to mass graves during the famine. A lot of them are hidden, but not marked. So that's one aspect of it. So what we did was a group of healers from all over the country got together. I contacted them and we decided that we would do a day, and we would dedicate this day to asking people to visit their local famine grave or their local mother and babies homes site, Tune Babies home site, all these different places to go and to acknowledge all the orphans and these children who were not acknowledged. And in a lot of cases, people had to go and do a lot of research before they could find the locations. Some of these locations were derelict, overgrown, some were fenced off and hidden. So there's over 220 workhouse sites in Ireland, and each of them would have had a grave yard or a mass grave pit, and most of them are hidden. So this is the work that National Ancestral Family Healing Day is about. It's about people going on the day of Samhain, the day of the ancestors, to celebrate the ancestors and to hold light in these dark places, to bring light in, to help these souls to heal and to cross over. Because from my experience, when people die in traumatic circumstances, they take a very long time to transition across, and in some cases they don't transition at all, they get stuck. So they hang around families. And that's what we have on this island. So between the mothers and babies homes, the industrial schools, the orphanages, the famine graves, there's all this work that needs to be done. So what we have is, we have a National Ancestral Family Healing Day page and a group where people have been going around doing the research for us and for me, I suppose, because I have the list of all the sites, and people are going and finding them, and they're marking them, and they're laying candles there. So on the day of Samhain, 31st of October, Halloween time, people are visiting these places now. They did it last year. You'll see some pictures up on the page where people visited. We had, I think it was about 10 healers came on, and each of us done a presentation during the day for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And we came from different parts of the country. We all broadcast live on the Facebook page. And what we did was we united the people. And on the day, it was such a powerful, powerful day, was the manifestation of this healing ritual, because everybody who came and got involved in it were touched deeply. There was a deep sadness within lots of people. There was a an unacknowledged grief, a loss, something that had been there forever and had never been acknowledged. So the day went off really, really well. We had many hundreds of people live online participating as well, and people visiting and going to the different locations and bringing flowers and bringing a candle. And we had an invocation of light for that particular day. It was a special prayer that we put together that would be recited at every single site that we could find on the island. And what we did after that was we just left it open for next year to continue this. But what we're looking for is we're looking to create this not from the government but from the people. We want the people to come forward and to begin to remember and to heal and to look at our past. And we have a very dark history. And we need to, it's no use politicians talking and say, oh yes, we have a very dark history. That's not good enough. We have to go to these places and we need to acknowledge these souls and what they went through and pray for them, hold ceremony, hold prayer. So that's why it's been led by healers. There's a group of us from all over the country. We've come together under this banner of National Ancestral Family Healing Day, and it's about healing intergenerational trauma. And today people are finally beginning to realise that, addiction and depression, they're all connected to some form of trauma. The more trauma, the more addiction, the more mental health issues, the more depression, the more suicide. So there's a dark shadow there, and it needs to be addressed because it's about bringing it out into the light. It's like talking about suicide, and it needs to be talked about every day. People who don't feel well, they need to know that it's okay not to be okay and to talk about it. But if we don't talk about it, well, what can I say? It doesn't heal. It festers in the darkness. And a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about today has been festering for a very, very long time on this island. And what it has done is it has put the people into a kind of, they're like the frozen. There's a part of us frozen. We are a hugely, hugely creative and spiritual nation of people, but we have a collective national soul loss that nobody wants to talk about. The dogs in the street know about it. Everyone in the village knows about it, but nobody is talking about it. It's time to share that. So what we do is we get people from different parts of the country to post up pictures of the sites that they found, the location of them, directions to those places, and we ask people to remember and to go and visit and to clean them up, to cut the grass, to rake out any old rubbish that's there and dedicate the space to the memory of our ancestors. Because not only are we helping them, but we're helping ourselves because we're lifting this heavy weight that lies across our whole land and causes so much what they call depression and addiction and mental health issues for all of us on this island. And I speak from my own experience, having dealt with and come through the best part of 10 years of deep, dark depression. As I was saying this morning on another talk, that I grew up believing that anxiety and panic attacks were normal because I'm an intuitive empath and highly sensitive, and I can sense stuff right around me. When I'm working with clients, as people tell you who've worked with me, I'm highly intuitive as well. So being that sensitive as a young boy growing up in Dublin, it was difficult. It was very difficult. And then going to school and being brutalised in school by lay teachers, Christian brothers and priests. It was a very difficult journey. So that's part of the shadow work that I talked about, because those people who perpetrate that type of violence and abuse on people, they're part of that collective soul loss as well. Because this island has manifested so much abuse within the Catholic Church and exported it all over the world. This is the shadow I'm talking about. This stuff needs to be illuminated with love and with light. And until such time as we shine light on it, we're not going to really get to the core of the issue and begin to heal it. So as a nation, as a collective, as a nation of people, National Ancestral Family Healing Day is a banner for us all to come in under as one, to hold the light together and to lift this shadow from the coming generations. It stops with us. The book ends with us. We're the ones who will make the difference. We're the ones who will break the cycle. And it's happening as we speak. Okay, let's see what sort of messages we're getting. If people are coming in and saying hello, and anyone got any questions yet? Paula Rafferty O'Hara says hi. Fellow O'Hara, how are you? Lovely to meet you, Paula. And Josie McConnell is in and says hi. Hello, Josie. Good to have you with us. Okay, there's a few more people coming in, but I'm not getting the posts at the moment. I'm sure they'll post something. So if you've got any questions about it, there on the page itself that we're broadcasting from at the moment, you'll find a list of the areas. As I said, there's over 220 workhouse sites. We have also found a lot of the mother and baby homes sites as well. So some of them are known, some of them are not known. So what we're asking people to do is to go to these places, index them, get directions, put them down, take photographs, and place it up on our page. Now, if you come in and like the National Ancestral Family Healing Day page, I can invite you into the group that's associated with that. And at the moment we have, I think, nearly 500 people in it. So we're hoping to get it up to a couple of thousand that will go. And this year, because of social distancing, we couldn't have the big gatherings that we wanted to have out. So instead we broadcast live. But next year, this year I should say, for sound, each of the healers will be going to a location closest to them, one of the sites, and we'll be holding ceremony there. And we will still broadcast on Facebook again to keep people who are living abroad now, who need the same healing work done. A lot of people emigrated because of the darkness and abuse they experienced on our land here, and they have never come back. So, a lot to be done there. A lot of mental health issues there as well. These people need a lot of support, as we know, and that's what this is about. It's about acknowledging all of those people and what happened to them, and basically holding a healing space for them. So, as I explained at the beginning, the intergenerational trauma can pass down through generations, and I've had personal experience of working with people who were impacted by this. I had one example of a young man I met about 20 years ago. I'm in this work 30 years full time. I've been working into this awareness for the past 40 years. So it took me 10 years to get a handle on what in the name of God and Goddess was happening to me as I transitioned into this highly intuitive awareness and woke up. But I was working one day in this old reformatory school in Wicklow, and this young man came in, and I was working there voluntarily, just trying to decorate the place and trying to open it up for a place for peace and reconciliation. And this young man came to me and he said to me, "Do you know anything about the buildings here?" And I said to him, "A little bit, yeah." Oh, he says, "I'm trying to find records." He said to me, he says, "I don't live far from here, but my grandfather was locked up here when he was a little boy for not going to school. So his grandfather, who went on the Mitch, was taken, and he was locked up for 6 months in this reformatory school in Wicklow. And what happened was, from the time he came out of there, he was never ever again right. And he became quite violent and abusive, and he became a chronic alcoholic. Now, this young man explained to me that he himself was a recovering alcoholic, and he was doing this research as part of his own healing and recovery, because what he discovered was that his own father was also a chronic, raging alcoholic, we could say. And he became the same. So 3 generations were damaged by the damage that took place in that reformatory school to that poor child of 4 years of age. That was one story. And the next story was about the same place. And a few weeks into working there voluntary, a couple came in one Sunday afternoon, and they walked around, and they came over to me, and I was working there, and they said, "Oh," the wife says to me, "Oh, he's delighted to see the place open." I says, "Oh, well, we're doing our best." I said, "We're voluntary here, trying to get it back on its feet again." So she said to me, "Oh, he's so happy. He's been bringing me up here for years. Every summer he'd bring me up, and we'd stand outside the gates looking through the barbed wire, looking in at the place." And I looked at him, and I could see he was broken. And I knew why he kept coming up, because he turned around and he told me, he says, I was sent here as a child, as a little boy, he says. I was brought up here, he says. And he says, and over there, that's where the punishment room was. They would bring you in there if you're too highly spirited, and they would beat you to the ground and break you. And I looked at him and I said, really? He says, yes. I took a deep breath and I just looked at his wife and I turned around and I said to her, I know why he keeps coming back. And the old man looked at me and said, you lost a part of your soul here during that time. He started to cry and I held him in my arms and I hugged him. I said, now I want you to bring that part home with you today. Breathe it into your heart. I held him and he shook. And then he turned around, looked to his wife, and the two of them left. You could see the peace. He had been acknowledged. His loss had been acknowledged. The wrong done to him had been acknowledged. And that was the last time they came. And for all those years, she was dragging him back up there. And he kept coming up. He was looking to get something back that he lost. He didn't know what it was, because nobody had framed it for him, gave him something to, how the word be, process it with. And I helped him to do that by acknowledging it. So National Ancestral Family Healing Day is to acknowledge the great soul loss that this island of ours suffered through the famine, through the abuse of the church, the mothers and babies' homes, all of the dreadful dark things that have happened in our past. It's to acknowledge those so that we can finally heal it, get closure on it, and move on. Because if we don't acknowledge it and work with it and heal it, we will pass on that same type of abuse, like those 3 generations of that family of alcoholism passed on. You look outside, you see all these people struggling with mental health issues and addictions and stuff. It's all about trauma, healing the past. So National Ancestral Family Healing Day is about gathering us together and acknowledging the past, the pain, the darkness, the hurt, the shame, the fear of it all, and lifting it off of us, because we didn't create it. It was put upon us. And it's time to lift it up, using the flame of Bridget to illuminate and the goddess, and to raise it up into the vibrations of light, and to disperse that cloud from all of our people on this land. So that's what our National Ancestral Family Healing Day is all about. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, just please post them up on the page, and I'd be happy to, on the comments there I should say, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. So far nobody is commenting. I've got Josie's came in and Paula came in. Okay. Paula, are we related at all? Rafferty O'Hara. The new Rafferty's from the Midlands, from Westmeath, from Athlone. I don't know whether you're any relative of theirs. There we go, so you were. Anyway, so guys, I'm just going to sit here for another 5 minutes or so. It's just a talk, it's not a workshop, but while I'm sitting here, I might as well use the opportunity to just let you know what else is going on today. And I'm just waiting for a few questions to come in. Anything that you want to know about the day itself. It's on Sound, 31st of October. They let me new bright glasses that I got the other day. Yeah, blue. I was looking for green ones. They only had blue. Anyway, today at 7 o'clock, I'm giving a workshop, Discovering the Stillness Within, and that'll be on Bridget's Celtic Grove of Illumination page, and that'll be up again within the Dublin Mind Body Spirit Show as well website page. So that starts tonight at 7 o'clock, and it's free, and it's Discovering the Stillness Within. And what it's about working through the chakra system. It's very good for people who find it difficult to meditate. If you find it difficult to switch off your mind and to get into a meditative state, tune in, because I can guarantee you will get there. I'm a master of teaching meditation. I've been teaching it for 30 years, and I don't use that word lightly. But when you've been teaching something for 30 years, I think you kind of get a handle on it, don't you? So discovering the stillness within, of going within and finding a place where you feel still. And I also provide free online Facebook events every week. And one of them is called Circle of Calm. That's every Tuesday and Thursday night, where we do a drumming journey to the Garden of Perfect Peace. And then we have on Sundays, we have Sunday Stillness. And that's also a group which is on Facebook on my page. So if you want to send me a friend request to my page, Dermot Shaman O'Hara, or even link in through this page and just message me or through this event, what I can do is link you into that. All of this stuff is free. Tomorrow I'm teaching at 12:30. I'm teaching about Bridget's Grove and the rites of passage, about Sheila McGee again, and then the 4 doorways of Bridget's Celtic Wheel of Illumination. This is a 1-year course where I take people around all of the 8 festivals, and we work through the doorways, the 4 doorways, the 4 quarters of the circle. At 3:05 tomorrow, I'm doing a talk on the Jack Olives. That's the Celtic Sweat Lodge ceremony. And then at 5:15, I'm doing a shamanic journey of the drum workshop, and that will be a journey in again to do some healing work. And I just want to show you what I have here. These are a couple of drums that I've made recently, and this is just one of them. So if any of you are ever interested in getting a drum, they're available in this size. This is the 15-inch, and then I've got a smaller one for children, or if you're someone who likes to put one in your small shopping bag and bring it with you. This is a little 12-inch, one. Okay, and then of course the standard size, which is the 18. This would be the 18 size here. It's a much bigger one again. So if you're ever interested in getting a drum, check it out on my website, dermotoharaonline.com. They're all there, and if you need any more information about them, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. It's a little cottage industry I've started up during lockdown. I've always wanted to do them, and now that I'm in lockdown, like the rest of us, I've had the time to sit down and get that craft together and start crafting drums for people. So it's made individually for you. I don't keep a large stock of them, so it takes a month or so to get them together. Karen Sheehan says, Dermot, I would like a past life regression done on me. I'm sensitive and should also have wanted to do this for a long time, so I need to feel time is right. Karen, thanks for that. Yeah, that's past life regression work. When you're sensitive and intuitive like that, I mean, my first past life regression was quite profound because, like everything I do in my work, I personally experience it before I will endorse it. That's how I work. I do not endorse anything from books or from anybody else. What I do is I go and have my own personal experiences, and then I teach from that. And the past life regression was profound for me. It was one of those things that I knew was there, and when I finally went to have the regression done, I found a lady from New Zealand who done it for me, and she was really powerful. I found back then, I'm going back 30 years ago, there's very few people in Ireland who were at that point skilled enough to be able to hold the space for me, but this woman did, and it was an amazing experience. Up until that point, I was skeptical of past life regression and of regressions. I was still exploring it myself, so when I had my first experience, wow, it transformed me, had a hugely positive impact on me. But it took me time to get to the point where I was ready. Like you're saying there, Karen, the same thing, you had a feeling about it. I was the same. And the interesting thing was, we talk about synchronicity. People kept talking to me about past life regression for weeks and months before I made an appointment to do it. So, the universe will send you the signs to tell you. And as Karen, you were saying there, I just read it again what you're saying there, that I would like a past life. I'm sensitive. I've always wanted to do it for a long time. So there you go. You know what it's about. So what I'll do is, Karen, I'm just going to grab a pen here and I'll make it. I'm sure. Listen, it'll stay up here on the post, and I'll scroll back later, Karen. If you private message me as well, we can talk about it, and I'll give you some more information. Then we can take it from there. I do sessions online through Zoom, and they're quite effective. I do the healing work, and I wasn't quite sure about the past life regression, but I did one a couple of weeks ago, and it was very, very effective. Very happy with it. So I wouldn't do it unless I knew that it was going to be effective and that it would have the desired outcome that I want for the person to recover from. It's usually trauma, isn't it? Yes. old relationships coming back and haunting us, old partners that we can't get rid of. I don't mean get rid of them, but move on from them. We can't let them go. Getting rid of them is the wrong word, isn't it? Excuse me. I've sipped my water here. Okay. Jill Winfield in. Hi, Jill. Are you connected with Indigenous peoples that do not recognise national boundaries? Indigenous peoples that do not recognise national... Well, national boundaries... There's your own national identity, I suppose, which is what a collective would be on a particular island. And there's many different indigenous nations of people, for example, in America, and they're all different nations, but they kind of have a kind of a collective philosophy that they kind of agree on. So as far as national boundaries are concerned, I believe that we are all ultimately connected to each other, that there is no separation between any of us, good, bad or indifferent. So there is a oneness that exists within the universe. When it comes to the human reality, it's a whole different story, where there are divisions between, different countries, different religions, different belief systems. So I don't engage in that. I don't like to see that, because we can see how much it damages people in the way that people go into conflict about it. To me, we are all one. We are a source of light and divinity. We come into these human bodies that separate us from the source. Our journey is to remember that we are the source, and we carry the source from within us. So I hope that answers the question for you. I don't... land ownership and yes, disputed lands in America. Yeah, I actually spent time on disputed land in Canada 20 years ago. They were actually there and they were guarding it with guns. So I know what you're talking about there. And that's the First Nations people's situation in America and in Canada, where they're trying to have treaties honoured today that were not honoured back then, that were broken. I don't really want to go into that here, Joe, because it's quite political and it's not really part of what I do at all. I'm not really qualified to comment on it. But as I say again, we are all one, and I respect those people and their right to claim their lands back. Maria Fitzgibbon says, highly recommend past life regression, folks. Thanks, Maria. Nice to hear that one. 100% behind you on that one. It's about the timing, isn't it, Maria? Being ready to do it. When you're ready, you're ready. Karen Shields says, thank you. I've gotten flashes of past lives throughout my journey here already. Exactly. You'll get dreams, you'll be in places, you'll get deja vus, you'll meet people and you say, I know this person from before. I remember I had someone I met many years ago in a relationship, and even after we parted, they were stuck in my head for years. And so I had to do a regression back into a past life and find the relationship with this person from before, heal the relationship, heal what was going on in it, let it go, come back, and wow, never contacted that person again. Never even talked to them again. Just gone. So, and it wasn't doing me any good, I can tell you. or down. Now, so there you go. So we're about coming to the end of my talk. It's just after 3 o'clock, and please do feel free to throw in any more questions you want again. As I said, Ancestral Family Healing Day, 31st of October, every year for sound. Check in on the list. There's a list of the sites up on the page here, and if you need any more information, do not hesitate to contact me. You can check out more information about my work on dermotoharaonline.com. I'll actually put up the website link here at the end of the stream here, so you can find the website, and you'll find some more interesting information there about my work, Advanced Core Illumination, Integration, Healing, and the work that I do with Bridget's Grove of Illumination. That's honouring our Celtic goddess Bridget, and doing the sacred ceremonial work on every one of the 8 Celtic festivals of the wheel. And I'll also be giving a talk tomorrow in Bridget's Grove about that work that I do there in relation to the 4 doorways of Bridget's Celtic Wheel of Illumination. And I hope that gives you enough information. Maria Fitzgibbon says, 3 years of doing it once a month, Dermot. I could do another 3, to be honest. It's really very important, folks. It is because, there's a beautiful book written by an amazing guy called can't think of his name now. The book is called Many Lives, Many Masters. Dr. John Weiss was his name, and John Weiss was a excuse me, a psychotherapist working in America. I think it was in New York actually, and he took a huge risk in publishing this book because excuse me, he had within his practice as a psychotherapist, he was not allowed to interact in any way around past life regression. He wasn't allowed to do it. He didn't recognise it as being valid. So when he published this book, he took a huge risk with his career, and it paid off. So Dr. John Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, I highly recommend you get it and read it. And a lot of people who have what we call trauma, addiction problems, anxiety problems, a lot of it too is past life. So you can have the past life stuff and the ancestral stuff coming behind you, all converging on your mental health all at the same time. So it's quite a mixed bag of work that you need to. There's many strings, many different ways you can go into the work to get yourself to place. And it's kind of like you need to untangle the strings and then pursue each one individually to get the closure that you need and cut the cords with the old past life influences and to release the energies of those people in your family lineage through the generations who are still holding on as well. So it's a very fulfilling and a very rewarding work to do. And of course, doing it as we do for the National Day, it's about the collective. We're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for all the people on our land of Ireland. And other people in other countries need to be doing the same thing as well, because it's not just in Ireland we have trauma from our history. Lara Me Comby says, what happens after past life? Is there a healing reaction that follows? It depends on yourself individually, Lara. As I said, the timing is important, and having the mental capacity to process and to integrate the information afterwards is vitally important. I do that as part of my work, in the other work I do called Advanced Core Illumination Integration Healing. The integration part is vital. Otherwise, if you don't integrate it, you don't bring it into your conscious reality of awareness. So it doesn't actually manifest. So when you come through the process, it's important that your therapist has the skills to ground you and to help you and assist you to integrate it into your reality so that it becomes part of your recovery process. In other words, it anchors positive change in your life. Okay? And us humans, we resist change. We like the comfort zone. We don't like stepping outside of that. So it's about growth. It's about new growth. And spring is a wonderful time to be doing that type of work, because the energy is rising. The sap is rising up through the trees. The leaves are reaching out. New growth is coming. So working with the seasons is a very important part of the way I work as well, and it supports those around me, and the grounding and the integration of it, like rooting yourself in the ground like a tree, and accessing that new energy that comes in, and it's supporting you to move forward and lifting you and carrying you on the journey of healing. Okay? Thanks for that question, Lara. Hope that helped. Maria Fitzgibbon says 3 years of... Oh, yes, okay, sorry, I read that one already. Okay, guys, that's about as much as I can tell you about today's National Ancestral Family Healing. As I say, I'm back this evening at 7 o'clock. I will be here teaching Discovering the Stillness Within. And that will be a talk first of all, and then I'll be bringing you into the meditation. So I'll be prepping you and bringing you in, and that will be a lovely healing journey for all of us. And don't forget to check out on my website, there's workshops that I do by Zoom, and I also am available to do private sessions by Zoom as well. So that's all in my website. You can also check me out. My page is Dermot Shaman O'Hara. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just put up the website address here on the page. There's Mr. quickly going down to his ice cream outside. I'm back again tomorrow as well, don't forget that, guys, okay? Just remind you, yeah. I'm sure they're all up on the website. But I'm here in the morning at 12:30 talking about Bridges Grove. And then at 3:05, Chocolate, the Celtic Sweat Lodge ceremony. And then tomorrow evening I'll be doing the shamanic healing journey of the drum, teaching, talking and presenting it in a workshop. Then 8:30 tomorrow night on the Bridges Celtic Grove Illumination page I'll be holding a spring equinox ceremony. Okay. Alright, so that's about as much as I can fill you in on today. I hope you enjoyed that little talk. I'll just wait for another minute to see if anybody else has any more questions, and then I will close it down for today. Do post up some type of a message or send me a friend request if you'd like to link in and get more information. I'll just put that one up now. There's the website going up. Okay. And I'll give you as well also yeah. Lara, you're very welcome, Lara. Hope that helps. Yeah, like all healing, integration is vitally important. And, one of the things I found through the years of people going for healing was that, immediately afterwards they felt wonderful. But sure, within a couple of days it was gone. It didn't last. And I remember people coming back to me and me working on them to go in and they'd feel wonderful. But what was happening was that, excuse me, they weren't learning anything. And I remember sitting there one evening after a busy week's work with clients, and I felt really good about myself, having a really good week. And just finishing up in my healing room, next thing one of my guides comes into the room, looks at me and says, "Yes, all this great work that you do, taking all their lessons away from them." I went, "What?" Apparently what was happening is people were not learning from what was happening to them, and they were repeating experiences over and over. And when they got hurt and damaged, they'd come to me, would lift the stuff off, clear it, but they'd go back out and they wouldn't address the deeper issues, the conditioning, the programming that was having them repeat the same experience again. So they kept coming back to me, and I kept lifting the stuff off them. They'd go back out and they'd get it back on, they'd come back in again and they'd give away the healing and they'd get all this skunk on them. And then in the end I had to start to gently teach and confront people, become people's mirror, and try to get them to recognise, see parts of themselves that they didn't like, that they didn't want to look at, and to go into those places to explore those parts of themselves, to do with anger, fear of confrontation, fear of being basically present in the moment, and dealing with what we would call old wounds, like legacy stuff, stuff coming down through the generations. So, our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they all transferred energy onto each other through the generations, carrying stuff they didn't even know was there. It became like the boogeyman, and would come in people's dreams at night and nightmares and stuff, and frighten them and control them, The healing happens when honesty happens, Maria Fitzgibbon says. Yes, it's about being honest with yourself, but you see, that's the problem with us all. We have this conscious and this unconscious mind, and then we have this filter of denial in the middle. So when someone like me comes along and I'm the message delivering the message of truth or honesty, excuse me, it can sometimes be really difficult medicine for people to swallow, And you know what good medicine is like? It doesn't taste nice, but it works. Yeah. So there you go. So honesty is the best policy. Absolutely. Karen, she says, yes, I found the same with clients. Yes, it's very difficult. How do you, deliver the message in a non-threatening, what would they call it, non-judgmental way? And I've spent many, many years perfecting that craft. Because it's so difficult, and people will always be threatened, excuse me, when you ask them to have a look at themselves. They feel exposed, they feel frightened. And it's really that they're not comfortable in their own skin. And then we go back to disconnect again, and it's not just them. They've come from a family of origin. There's disconnect from their community, there's disconnect from their people, there's disconnect from their land, there's disconnect from the goddess, there's disconnect. So you can see where I'm going with all of this. It's about bringing it all back into balance and healing the disconnection. And when we talk about boundaries and the claiming of lands and stuff, yeah, losing lands, as we did here in Ireland, we had our lands taken away from us, we had our language taken away from us, and we had our spiritual teachers demonized. Yes, we lost a lot as well. And because of that, we have a lot of repressed resentment, anger, maybe even rage, fire. And it's been dampened down for generations. So that fire can be channeled in a very positive way to create change. So hence the illumination process and the flame of Bridget. So may the flame of Bridget bless you and illuminate you in mind, body and soul. And I look forward to having you all on again soon. If you can make it tonight for the meditation, that would be really great. As I say, it's on at, what time did I say? It's the main things down here on the list. 7 o'clock. So I'm back on at 7 tonight, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Have a lovely afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Slán.